Cloud migration is exactly what it sounds like. It's the process of moving data, applications, or other business elements from the enterprise to the cloud, from the cloud back to the enterprise's local data center, or between two clouds. Cloud migration has a lot of benefits. For one thing, it aids a company's agility and scalability. Companies can deploy workloads wherever and whenever they need to without having to procure computing or storage. If a workload demands more resources, the cloud can deliver them immediately because those resources are already available in the cloud. Cloud migration also aids innovation. It lets a business try new architectural designs and test workloads without long-term investment or risking local infrastructure. And migrating routine and non-critical workloads to the cloud frees up local resources that can then be used on critical or sensitive work best kept within the enterprise. Migrating to a cloud helps manage long-term costs. Cloud isn't necessarily cheaper than a local data center in the long run, but the costs can be more manageable. Cloud requires relatively modest monthly expenditures compared to the huge capital and infrastructure commitments that local workloads require. In this video, you'll learn all the essential basics about cloud migration. But for a deeper dive, you can explore our complete cloud migration collection by clicking the link above or the link in the description below. Any cloud migration must start with a clear business use case and goals before making the actual migrations. There are three fundamental approaches to cloud migration. The first is lift and shift. It's the most direct approach. A local workload and its data are moved or rehosted to corresponding compute and storage resources in a cloud provider's infrastructure. The second is replatforming. Because many enterprise workloads can be complex with numerous dependencies, a business might choose to make some changes to the workload's deployment design to improve its performance in a public cloud environment. If a workload requires a database, for example, the business can use a compatible database service already hosted and available through the cloud provider rather than deploying a copy of the corresponding database. Replatforming can be difficult and time-consuming, plus it requires more testing and validation than simple rehosting. The third option, refactoring, involves a fundamental redesign of the workload itself to optimize its use of cloud resources and improve its performance in the cloud. Refactoring a workload is often the most time-consuming and complex type of cloud migration project, which is usually reserved for businesses with cloud-first or cloud-native workload design and deployment strategies. In terms of the actual migration process, the first step is to identify the application or workload to move to the cloud. Maybe a project management app that enables team collaboration, or a scheduling app that lets employees access their calendar from any device. Take inventory of data and applications and look for dependencies and how those will be replicated in the cloud or possibly re-architected to accommodate numerous cloud service options. Actual cloud migration processes can vary depending on the type of migration and the resources involved in the move, but there are some basic steps to take. First, understand the purpose. Start by defining tangible business purposes for the migration and set clear expectations for the migration project. If the business can't identify at least one tangible or measurable reason for a cloud migration, it's often best to pause the project early on. Then, determine the target applications. Business, technical, and compliance leaders should assess the local environment and identify potential candidates for a cloud migration. Not every workload is suited to the cloud because of performance, security, compliance, or other issues, and cloud migration is not an all-or-nothing business decision. It's often recommended to migrate workloads as individual projects rather than an epic, all-encompassing business transformation. Start small with simple, low-priority workloads with few, if any, dependencies. Gain experience with the migration process, then tackle more complex or critical workloads. Next, choose the cloud migration target. Once an app is selected, the business can choose the cloud deployment model, such as public, private, hybrid, or multi-cloud. Or it might use an as-of-service model. For example, a simple migration to replace an aging local workload could benefit from using a particular type of SaaS tool. In contrast, an advanced business transformation strategy might involve creating a private cloud and then making the migration. You will then need to select a proven cloud partner. Look for a provider that has a proven track record and will be in business for the foreseeable future. Nothing's more disruptive than finding that a vital provider is closing its doors, leaving your company to scramble to find alternative providers. This can happen with small or new SaaS providers, for example. The next step is to evaluate migration costs and needs. A cloud costs money. Since cloud costs are recurring, businesses will need to budget appropriately to operate workloads and host data in a cloud. A key decision is what migration architecture to use. Platform as a service and software as a service architectures are largely set, and their costs are relatively straightforward to determine. But composing an architecture for a workload within an infrastructure as a service cloud environment can be challenging, especially for highly scalable architectures. You'll want a skilled cloud architect with expertise in the chosen cloud target to compose an environment with the reliability, security, monitoring, and performance to meet the workload's needs. You'll also need to create the migration plan. That's the when and how of the cloud migration that enables a business to outline its approach and timeline for the actual migration. Once all these steps are completed, you'll be ready to perform the migration. This is where all of the movement and detailed testing takes place. Business and technology leaders and often workload owners should see initial performance reporting to ensure adequate performance and security under full load. Next comes monitoring and reporting. Cloud workloads are typically equipped with performance monitoring services to track workload availability, access, health, and performance as it runs in the cloud. Stakeholders should verify that reporting is available and that KPIs meet expectations. Finally, there might be some aftermath to a cloud migration. At the technical level, the local resources, such as servers and storage, previously used by the local workload, might be freed for reuse or decommissioned to save power and cooling costs for the business. At the business or organizational level, the movement of a workload into the cloud might result in some staff reassignment. Wondering if your organization is ready to migrate to the cloud? You can increase your confidence by knowing the answers to these 4 questions. Question 1. Should that application stay or go? The public cloud is often well suited to non-critical routine, experimental, or temporary workloads. Legacy applications or workloads that require low latency or higher security and attention to compliance probably should stay on premises or move to a private cloud. Question 2. What's the cost to run that application in the cloud? One of the primary benefits of a cloud migration is workload flexibility. If a workload suddenly needs more resources to maintain performance, its operating costs could escalate quickly. Good cloud management is critical to finding and eliminating cloud sprawl, while policies and cost guardrails can help mitigate cloud spend. Question 3. Which cloud model fits your organization best? Public cloud provides scalability through a pay-per-usage model. Private or on-premises cloud provides extra control and security. A hybrid cloud model provides the best of both, although performance and connectivity might need close attention. Question 4. Have you selected the right cloud provider? The top 3 cloud providers, AWS, Microsoft, and Google, generally offer comparable services to run all kinds of workloads in the cloud, plus tools to help efficiently move apps there. But remember that similar services are not necessarily interoperable services. It can be hard to move a workload once the migration is complete. Gauge your specific needs for availability, support, pricing, and security and compliance to find the best cloud fit for each given application. If you've got the answers to these 4 questions, you're likely ready to get started on your cloud migration project. If any of the above trips you up, review the information in this video, or check out our other cloud migration information.